Hi everyone, so this is the third video for lesson 5.2, solving polynomial equations algebraically. In the last video we stopped here and we're going to be talking about another concept that you have to be familiar with for this lesson. So question number 16 says x to the power 4 plus 12x squared minus 8. So how can we possibly write this in quadratic form? Simply, we will use a variable other than x that represents x squared in this case, because here we know that the quadratic equation, the x is to the degree of the polynomial is 2, right? It is 2. So we have to change the highest degree into 2. So what is the difference between 4 and 2? 4 minus 2, 2. So we will write m is equal to, we will choose any variable. It could be m or c or e or d, anything. I'm going to use m in this case, and I'm going to write it as x squared. Okay, so now I've written another variable for x squared, so I can replace x squared with this variable. So we know that x to the power of 4 is x squared times x squared, and 12 is times x squared minus 8. The constant stays the same, the coefficient stays the same. Okay, so now we will replace m for x to the power of 2. So this will be m times m plus 12m minus 8, which we can write it as m squared plus 12m minus 8, and this will be how we write it in quadratic form. This will be our answer for this question. Okay, now let's do another question. Let's do question number 17. Okay, question number 17 says negative 15 x to the power 4 plus 18x squared minus 4. This is the exact same concept. I even chose a question that has the exact same powers. Okay, so we'll do exactly what we did over here. So we will substitute x squared as another variable. This time let's choose e. So e is equal to x squared. Now that I've explained to you how we get m squared plus 12m, I will not write it this way because it's too long and it's not really needed. So we will just write 15. Remember, x to the power 4, as I said here, x to the power 4 is x squared times x squared. So here, x to the power 4 is also x squared times x squared, or e times e, which is e squared. Okay, so e squared plus 18 times e minus 4. And this will be the answer for this question. Let's do question number 19, which is on the same page 268. Okay. Question number 19 says 5x to the power of 6 minus 2x squared plus 8. Now, do you think it's possible to turn this into quadratic form? Let's say we choose as x squared. Okay, and we know that x to the power 6 is x squared times x squared times x squared, right? Okay. And that will be m cubed minus 2m plus 8. Not quadratic form. This is not 2. In this case, you cannot use anything other than x to the power of, you cannot replace anything other than x to the power of 2. Why? Because it's the lowest degree. So here, this, this polynomial, it's not possible to convert it into quadratic form. So not possible. So question number 23. X to the power of 4 minus 3x squared minus 10 equals 0. It says solve this equation. So first what you're going to do is do this exact same concept that I have just covered. So let's say z is x squared, okay? So z squared minus 3z minus 10 equals 0, okay? So you can just simply solve it using the graphing calculator. Again, as I've said before, you go to main menu, press A, which is represented in the calculator, by the way. A the button looks something like this. Theta and T. This is how the button looks like for A. So you go to main menu, then A, then you go to F2, then in this case it's quadratic, so F1, and then you just write what is A, what is B, and what is C. In this case, A is 1, B is -3, and C is -10. So let's write that down. 1 is A, B is -3, C is -10. Solve. So we will get Z. Let's not remove this, not needed. And by the way, to make the calculator solve it, you just press F1 yet again. Okay, so you will get Z is -2 and 5. Okay, so we know that Z is equal to x squared. So we will now replace Z as x squared, just like how we did it in the other way around. We replaced x squared with Z. Here in this case, instead of writing Z is equal to -2 and Z is equal to 5, you write x squared is equal to -2 and x squared is equal to 5. Now you will use the square roots to get rid of the to get rid of the exponent on x. And remember, whenever you have square root and under it there's a negative number, you will get into imaginary numbers, okay, which is represented with I. So for x to the power of -2, it will become, you just remember that I squared is equal to -1, okay? That keep in mind. So it will be 2 times I to the power of 2, which will be I positive and negative I radical 2. Okay? So this is how you do the square roots over a negative number. You have to use imaginary numbers. Okay? So x will be equal to positive and negative I radical 2. X squared equals 5 will become x equals positive and negative radical 5. Okay? And this will be your answer. And always remember that the number of solutions that you get is always the same number as the highest degree. The highest degree is always the degree of the polynomial, okay? So in this case, we have to have 4 solutions. And remember that solutions zeros, x-intercepts, and roots have all the same meaning, okay? They're not different in any way, shape, or form. So these are all the same, okay? So as I was saying, when the number of solutions or zeros or roots should always be equal to the degree of the polynomial. Sometimes that might get kind of confusing, since sometimes you could have x is equal to 0, but 0 is repeated, but like it doesn't show because you cannot say positive and negative 0, but it is repeated. Sometimes you have cases that are like that. And always remember that whenever you do square root, you should always put next to your solution positive and negative, because it is two cases. Because whenever you multiply, remember, if you have, for example, square root of 4, okay? Square root of 4 means square root of 2 times 2, right? Which is 4, okay? So if you have this as negative, it will still be positive 4. So there are two cases. Square root of 4 can either be 2 times 2, which is positive 2, or negative 2 times 2, which is negative 2. That is why you put positive and negative. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you understood something about this lesson, and I'm going to be making another video about this lesson because this video was going to be too long. So if you have any questions, either you can email me at Educology.help at gmail.com, or just comment your question down below. And I hope you have a good day. Thank you.